Hello guys, welcome to Sports Bet Daily. It is hump day, it's Wednesday today, and we are going to be talking a few sports. Cricket World Cup finally here after 2015. They're 4 years in the wait. England are hosts, and Ed Hawkins is back with us here at Cricket Betting to give us some early tips, take a look at what's going on, and also don't forget daily coverage from Ed Hawkins over at Odds Market to keep you up to date with your cricket bets. Now, obviously, Australia won in 2015 and they were hosts. England are hosts this time. Do you think they can prevail and win? Is it looking likely, Ed?
Well, they're the number one ranked team in the world. They've been the number one ranked team in the world for some time. Home advantage is useful to them because they know the pitches very well, and the pitches really suit them because they're really good batting wickets, and that's England's strength. They're the best batting team that there has ever been in this format, and that's not hyperbole. That's fact. That's statistical fact. No team has batted the way that England have done in ODI history. So from that point of view, they're really well set up to do well. But
always a but.
As with Italy, it's all about price. And we're scooching around price at about 2 to 1 for England to win a tournament. And cricket, football, American football, talk about anything, any other sport you want to talk about. If you've got a favourite to win a major tournament and they're as short as 2 to 1, that team has to be the best all-round team in the tournament. I think we can all agree on that. Are England the best all-round team in the tournament? Can they do every single facet of the game better than anybody else, or that some of their parts is that better than everybody else? I just can't say yes to that question. They can bat better than anyone else, but they can't bowl better than anybody else. In the last 2 years, their economy rate is the worst of any other team in the world, and they're going off at 2 to 1 favourites to win a World Cup. England may well go on to win the World Cup. They may well chase in every match, and they may look unstoppable. But at the price, they're just a bad price. It's not a value bet. I could never advise anyone to bet a 2 to 1 chance when they can only do one part of the game to the maximum.
All right. I was feeling, when you started off the conversation, we started off this clip, I was feeling very hopeful that England were going to win. And now you're saying that they are obviously lacking. So if the price was better, would you back England, or do you still think then, is there obviously value? India come in at 4.33. Then you've got Australia there to repeat, 4.75. South Africa, 10. So based on those odds there, it kind of seems like a 3-horse race. Would you say that's so?
If England were a bigger price, I'd back them. If England were 4 to 1, I'd back them. Maybe even if they were 3 to 1, I'd be really close to backing them. But I'm not backing them at 2 to 1 to win the World Cup when they can only do one thing exceptionally well, and they are poor at bowling. Really, really great World Cup winners have been able to do all 3 facets of the game exceptionally well. And they've not gone off as short as this. So it is typical, but it is tricky to find where the value is. You mentioned India there at 4.3. You know, it's not a price that we're knocking the door down to get. But you know, if you're going to choose between the two, then we'd have to go with India because they can bat almost as well as England, and they can bowl vastly better than them. Their strike rate and their economy rate ranking is better than England. So India are a far better all-round team than England. In the 2017 Champions Trophy, which is this World Cup warm-up tournament, which is hosted 2 years before as sort of a dry run, a practice run for all the teams to get used to the conditions and for the host nation to get used to hosting a major tournament. India got to the final and they were beaten by Pakistan. Where did England get? They got to the semi-finals because they got let down. So I'm much more positive about the Indian price and what India can and can't do instead of what England can do, that one thing.
I know that, but a quote comes to mind, Ed, and it's better to do one thing well than 10 things poorly. And so maybe you sort of like, but it almost seems like it's just the price. But would you, forget about price or anything? Do you think England will win it?
If we're not talking about price, yeah. But
so then maybe it's just better to stay off the outrights.
Yeah, I mean, price is everything to me. Price is our guide. It's it helps us make our decision one way or the other. It's something which few people can cozy up to. It's our great comfort rug as bettors. It helps us to make that final decision. If we're not talking about betting, if we're just talking about a cricket show, I'd probably say, yeah, England will win the World Cup. But I'm just not betting at those odds.
Yeah.
Particularly because, they're 2-1 now. A year ago, 4-1. 18 months, maybe bigger. The value on England has long gone. They're not worth backing now. You've got to try and find some value elsewhere. And I know what your next question is going to be. Where's the value elsewhere? Well,
no, that wasn't actually my next question. That wasn't my next question. My next question was, if they do batting so well, England to be nationality of top batsman. England, 3.25.
Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, I think Johnny Bairstow is going to score a lot of runs in this tournament, and Jason Roy could very well push him very close indeed. As usual, I've gone into the numbers in this into quite some in-depth numbers, and although Roy has a lower average runs per innings than Bairstow, the thing is with Roy, what is essentially quite a short tournament. We've got 9 games guaranteed in the group stages, and then a semi-final and then a final. Because it's quite contracted and it's quite short, it's a kind of like mini series really. Roy could easily get 200 in a game. He could easily get 200 here in one of these games on a really flat deck against some of the weaker opposition in the group stage. Sri Lanka, for example, maybe in Afghanistan if England were to bat first. Maybe he could really get hold of Bangladesh. West Indies bowling could well be weak. Somebody like Roy could blitz 200, and then he won't actually have to do that much for the rest of the tournament to be that top run scorer. But Bairstow could also get 200, and I've gone on about Bairstow, I think, in the past about that he's a good bet to be the overall top run scorer. I think 10-1's available in places, and I know he's about second or third favourite. So yeah, you're right to mention that price, about 3.25, about top nationality run scorer. So the English will do well, but it'll be Roy or Bairstow. It has to be an opening batsman for your top run scorer bet for this tournament, folks. Please, I beg you, do not put your money on anybody who bets outside the top 2. It's a total waste of time. Opening batsmen dominate this market. They always win.
Interesting. And so where would you put your money on right now? Obviously, you're liking India, but just for the price, although you kind of think that England will win this. So I'm probably going to stay away from the India based on our conversation here. So where should I put my money with bets that you feel confident on?
Bets I think I feel confident on. We could look at it, we could flip it round. We could talk about how bad Sri Lanka are. I've seen 13-5 that Sri Lanka finished bottom. I think Sri Lanka are awful. I think they'll struggle to get a couple of wins in this tournament. I think that is the best bet of the entire tournament. Sri Lanka finished bottom.
What was the price of that one there?
They're about 13-5 with Betfair, I believe, and you might get bigger elsewhere. I mean, 4-1 was knocking around a while back, and I know we worry about value going, but I don't think people have worked out how bad Sri Lanka are. This is just a hot.
Well, hopefully they will now after this video.
Yeah, they've left their best players at home. A lot of them they haven't even brought them, and Sri Lanka are big as price as they are because people haven't cottoned on to how good Afghanistan could be, and certainly not how competitive Pakistan are going to be. They are a ferocious team. They won't give an inch. They've got some tremendous players, man for man, position for position. They can take on Sri Lanka. If it's a question of Sri Lanka needing to beat Afghanistan to avoid the wooden spoon, I'll be backing Afghanistan all day long. Bangladesh are another team down there in the lower reaches, but again, I don't think Sri Lanka will come close to some of the quality that they've got. Sri Lanka have left Dinesh Chandimal, who's their most experienced and best batsman at home. They've left 2 of their top run scorers at home. They've left 2 of their top wicket takers at home. I don't know what Sri Lanka are doing. I think they just maybe they wanted to give some people a holiday, but they've just picked a weird squad. So that is my tip for the tournament. Sri Lanka to finish bottom.
Looks like I'm going to go 2 units on that play there. Sri Lanka to be bottom, 13-5 there. Now, what was happening? Because when we did, so if you guys head over to Odds Market, there we've got a cricket page, and we did some team previews, and then one of them obviously was England, and they left Jofra Archer out, but then obviously they made the decision to bring him on. What was that all about?
Well, he was never really left out.
He was just in. Oh, okay.
It was just a bit of nonsense, really, that they had to name their squad, and I have basically respect for the people who had worked so hard for the last 4 years. They didn't just drop him automatically into the World Cup squad. They said, "Prove yourself in these games against Pakistan," and then he barely played against Pakistan, and then they picked him anyway. And this proves my point about England. They're absolutely terrified about their bowling, so they've fast-tracked Jofra Archer into the World Cup squad. They've had a little bit of tweak about the qualification rules because he's West Indian born. So they fast-tracked him in because they're absolutely terrified of the state of their bowling, and they know they've got major issues with their bowling. He's barely played ODI cricket. He's got tremendous pace. He's a brilliant athlete. We've seen him do amazing things in the IPL, but he's completely unproven in one-day international cricket. Betting is about data and stats. We have no data or stats about what Jofra Archer is going to do. We can only guess from what we've seen him with our own eyes when we've watched him on TV or when we've watched him live, bowl really fast, look very athletic, look very strong. He could be amazing. He may well be amazing, but a lot of people are hanging their hat on a World Cup bet on England because they've got Jofra Archer. Well, I've got no data to back that up. That's just a guess.
Okay. Now, in your article here, I've just pulled it up. England versus South Africa, match 1 here, Thursday, 30th of May, which is tomorrow. Run us through this match and what you like.
Guess what? I don't like England.
Because they're quite short favourites, aren't they? I think if memory serves correct. They're about like 1.5. But your tip in South Africa batting second, what does that mean? That they'll lose the win the coin toss?
Well, if South Africa
basically betting on a coin toss.
We're basically relying on South Africa to show some sense and some brains. And look, that's not a given. But if South Africa were to win the toss at the Oval, they will choose to chase if they've got any sense, because they know England are vulnerable at defending targets because of this issue with their bowling. The whole world really should know how to get England beat. It is certainly not to win the toss and bat first. If you're taking on England, for the love of God, do not bat first. You will not win the game. Their chasing record is approaching a 90% win rate. England will chase anything in this tournament. And there's a great tip for those people who like to play in running whilst we're talking about it. Although I'm very, very down about England over a long tournament of 9, 10, 11 games, individual inning matches in running, if they're chasing and they're going after 330, 350, 400, back them to do it. Because you'll get great prices in running about England with more than 300 on the board to go after. We saw it in the Pakistan series with going after 330, 350. There were odds against, and that's a really that is a real core strategy of this World Cup if you're an in-running punter. Get with England if they're chasing big totals.
Here we go. Some sound advice there from Ed Hawkins at Cricket Betting there. Sri Lanka to be bottom. There we go. You've heard it here first. That's the play. Please, you've got to follow Ed Hawkins' cricket content. It's fantastic. So match 1 is up, and we'll be covering the matches there throughout the World Cup. Thank you very much, Ed. I'm sure I'll talk to you very soon. And let's hope that England will prevail on home soil.